Is anybody out there? This is season 9, episode 22, 370. It's
I
friggin'.
just
Oh, go.
No, you do. You do. I'll take a
I
final
do.
sip. You do.
It's Valentine's Day. Isn't that crazy?
What's the latest one?
Can you do that? I don't know.
No, I can't. But I saw a kid do it. Maybe it's this, something like this. And then here's where the algorithm, and then they kind of go, and then they give the finger out of it. So it's not that. I can't even. Oh, there. I can't. What do you do with these fingers? Oh, can't do it. Old man hands. Good morning,
Gary. I suspect Rochelle's here too.
Hearts to you. Look, I can't even. Is that how you do it? I don't know.
Happy Valentine's Day. It snuck up on me, and I don't give a rat's ass about it. Probably because I don't work in elementary anymore. Good morning, Rochelle.
It's elementary school, eh? Elementary school. The great reminder
of all these things. Yeah,
the great reminder of everything. Let me just, before you go there, I just read in here somewhere. Had Instagram scrolling in the background. And I don't know if it's real. Recent studies show that couples who don't celebrate Valentine's Day are happier in their relationships. Let's see if it's attributed.
I don't care. Do you care?
No. Wait, about what? I said no, but I wasn't paying attention. What am I? Do I care about that?
Yeah. Like, is it one that you? Is it a holiday you like?
Holiday I like. Good question.
Rochelle says very true. All the celebrations, like everything, Hundreds Day, St. Patrick, everything. The great reminder, elementary school.
And then even if there isn't a reminder, they make up shit like 100 days in. It's like, you know what we need? You know what we need in January? There's not much going on. Okay, we have some cultural celebrations and some religious things, but you know what? We need our own thing here. We need a school thing, a secular thing. Even if the Catholic says, we're going to do 100 days in. What's that? Well, we're going to celebrate that we've been in school for 100 days. And then there had to have been someone sitting at the table. You realize that there's going to be someone thinking to themselves, really? You're celebrating me being at work for 100 days? Like, that's what they're thinking.
The numeracy part of it for the kids is fantastic. But you know, you and I would break that now, and I'd be like, no, I'm celebrating 121 days.
That's right.
For shits and giggles.
6-7 day. I'm sure it'll be a thing.
I know, Rochelle, but you'll still, the last day of school, everybody wear green to celebrate it because it's happening during March.
Oh, and then
they find a way to do that. Come on, Rochelle.
Yes,
you're acting like a rookie.
The time shifting just to be able to celebrate.
Look at the anchor she's dropping. 100 days always
like,
falls on Valentine's.
Dang. She's hitting us hard.
She's hitting us hard.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, the great reminder. And then just the, teachers' closets filled with all those different colored outfits. Come on. The great reminder.
Oh my God. She says that they did a 67th day at this school.
That would be awesome if we were episode 367, but we're not.
No, we're friggin' 370, baby.
We're doing our 6-7 episode on 7-0 just because we want.
That's right, because that's how we roll, right?
That was so 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks because we skipped the week.
So, shoot, I lost what I was going to say. Oh, my wife was like, do you guys do anything in high school? I'm like, if we did, I wasn't paying attention.
So that's a hard no, but you do see it in some spaces.
I know they do, like the SAC group, the Student Activities Council. They're always doing stuff, putting stuff together. Thankfully, right? Because sometimes it's enjoyable type stuff that I appreciate, but like Valentine's Day, just right off my radar. I was never a fan of it when I was an elementary teacher. I would do it, and it was fun. Making the kids would make their bags, we'd tape it to the desk, and then everybody would bring in Valentine's cards and some candy and stuff, and then we would take time to deliver the stuff to the different bags.
The money, the stress, the logistics, I have to head out to the dollar store because I need to get the cinnamon hearts.
Yes, get the cinnamon hearts.
I will say in the middle of my lesson 2 days ago, a student that I worked with last year. So last year I was a part of the student council. This year I'm not a part of student council. I got a little candygram from student council. Got it from student
Nice.
council. I thought that was nice. We did good work last year, and there's some people on the council that I mentored and coached, and they're now leadership in the council. So that was kind of cool. And it was the president that showed up and brought it to me. So I thought that was a nice touch.
I like that.
But yeah, but again, just the whole. I guess I don't know. I try not to go sort of like Ebenezer on this, but there is an element of fatigue, is there not? Is there not? Because it's not just the oh shit, what time does the dollar store close? I got to get something for tomorrow mindset, right? And that happens time and time again, I'm sure. You're busy doing the unimportant stuff like living your life and taking care of your family, and you're sitting there at dinner, you're swirling the tomato sauce in your bowl, and you're like, oh damn it, I forgot to pick up the candy hearts. And you're like, da, 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 wash dish, wash dish. You're like, back in 10 minutes. So there's that part. And then as you're sort of driving there, you know what? I should probably cruise past Staples because I haven't finished my stupid bulletin board. Sorry, I shouldn't have said stupid. My bulletin board isn't up to date. It's just, yeah, I think when you and I first started talking, I'm betting, and it has to be, it was either chasing squirrels, and you were on chasing squirrels. I think I was I ever on Chidiac Connects? I don't remember.
I want to say yes.
Or Barba Grande. Maybe I was on there and we had a convo. I don't remember.
There's no trace of Barba Grande anymore, which is hilarious. But I love that. That was fun.
Does Gary know about Barba Grande?
I don't know if Gary and Rochelle know. I don't think anybody knows because it was for a summer.
Hilarious.
That was a good one. I like that. Barba Grande, pantalone, black pants, pantalone. I don't know how to say black in Spanish.
That was your midlife crisis in podcast years. Yeah, that was you on your podcast motorcycle, no helmet. That's what that was. All beard. But I can remember back in the day, at some point, I asked you about this. I'm like, what is up with bulletin boards in elementary school? And I'm sure you gave me a very dignified, and because I was talking about, yeah, that's I don't do that. I don't. But I will say, ironically, when I was in the community classroom, so just last year and the year before, I started up. I asked the principal because there was a really ugly bulletin board. It was falling apart, had been painted a couple times. So I'm in my classroom, and I said to the principal, I'm like, look, you get me a new bulletin board there, a nicer one, and we'll do some sort of a project as like a welcome into the school, because you come out of the north parking lot. It's sort of the first bulletin board that you see. And I said to him, dude's name is Eric, great guy. I said, look, let me take it on. We can take it on as a classroom project. And then we did. I rolled it in. I called it committee work. So I said, I need a bulletin board committee, a classroom of 11 kids. And each month the committee changed and they did it different. There was a Star Wars one. We did a St. Patrick's Day. They did an Easter, welcome back to school. It was a lot of fun. And we rolled it into, like, they did some visual arts stuff. They had to do some planning, leadership. It was a fun project. So funny, a decade later, I'm in a context where the thing is, I'll say I wasn't doing the bulletin board. I wasn't doing it. And sometimes every time the bulletin board looked like bulletin boards done by kids. Like, it was not fancy, but I let it be that because the kids designed it. They cut it out or they painted stuff like it was their stuff. They made it happen. So it had to look like kid work, but it was a cool looking bulletin board. So ironically, even though I pushed back episode 07, whatever it was back in the day, 300 episodes later, I'm like, we're doing it. We're doing bulletin boards, baby. And admittedly, it was fun. It was kind of fun.
So this brings me to a couple of things. First, I want to share the different. So Gary said that SAC sold flowers and singing telegram. That's cool. Rochelle says love cinnamon hearts. When I was at Bosco, somebody sent me cinnamon hearts in the courier around Valentine's Day, and they never told me who they were.
Like a secret Cupid.
Yeah, was it you, Rochelle? Did you send those to me? I don't know. Somebody did. Somebody based on the podcast sent me cinnamon hearts. I
Ooh.
believe it was connected to the podcast. And then Rochelle said the singing telegram is a unique idea. And
Mhm.
then Decoded Podcast said, love this. So let me, I want to bulletin. You've got me. I feel like PTSD all of a sudden with the talk of bulletin boards because
Wait, pause for a sec. What do you mean Decoded Podcast said love this? Did you put that up?
yeah.
Oh, I'm taking a wait a second. I was like, is that some random that's like copied our okay. That's that's awesome. That's like toot 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 your own horn. Okay.
Toot
It
my
took me
own
a
horn.
second. You go like 4 seconds later. I'm on a bit of a delay. I'm like, wait a second. I didn't put that in there. Who the hell put that in there? That was awesome. Continue. Sorry. That was funny.
So some principals I've worked for just came right out and said that your bulletin board outside your room will be changed every month. You will not leave anything there for like if it goes up in October, it's being changed for November.
That's
And
not
it,
enforceable. That can't be enforceable. No, no,
well,
let's just pause for a sec. Gary, is that enforceable? I could go upstairs too.
I tell you right now,
I could ask my spouse. That
Gary's
there's
gonna say he doesn't know because he's in secondary. He's gonna say some kind of I don't know how they roll in elementary.
it is impossible. It is I think that's that's one of those go along to get along and fear future, job limitation kind of a moment. And completely forgetting that you're a grown ass adult with a full contract and not having a bulletin board is not grounds for dismissal.
So let me
Sorry,
continue,
sorry,
if you
sorry,
will.
sorry. I
No,
will, I will, I
okay.
will, I will go.
Gary has spoken. He doubts it. So here it is. Let me break it down for you, okay?
Do it.
I'm gonna reverse and go a different direction.
Okay.
Every morning, my current principal tries to come up to my room and say good morning as he's doing his rounds. And I told him yesterday, I said, this feeds my soul because it's great to see him because I don't get the chance. The people you want to see, you don't get to see because they're
Mhm.
busy, and the people you don't want to see
It's
are
like,
there 24
oh,
7.
it's you
Yeah.
again.
So I told my principal, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate this. Kind of feeds my soul. It's great to just see you. Say, yo, what's up? How's it going? What's going on today? Just a quick check in. Quick. I love it. And actually, in my building at this time, I love seeing all my administrators. When they come in the room, it's like, yo, what's going on? It's like I truly I can honestly say, call me Bob or whatever. I love seeing my administrators. When they come in, I don't feel like I'm being judged. I feel like, if anything, it's just great to connect. And if they have something to say about my practice, I want to hear it. I'm like, you're going to make me better? Give it to me because I trust them. I
Mhm.
just feel good. So it's like, I see them, yo, what's up? I've also worked for administrators that I never wanted to see. I never would walk down certain hallways because I knew that they'd be there. When they'd come into my room, I would stop everything and just stare at them. Like, what do you want? I'm not proceeding. What do you want? Oh, go about your normal business. No, I will not. So I've been, very like open and inviting and very closed and honest about get the F out of my face. Unless you're here to
Mhm.
discipline me, go away. Because I know you're not here to say anything positive because that's not how you roll. And now, oh my God, now in like second half of life, I'll probably go to the principal's office and say, we need to talk because you're being a dick and I want to know why. Like, not good, right? Not good, but
Mhm.
confident in like, let's talk. You're a leader. Show me you're a leader instead of just being a manager. That's my insult to them. You're acting like a manager. But anyway, that's where I am now. So if I had a bulletin board outside the room and the principal said, it'd be great if we could keep these things relatively up to date, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean, might be a pain in my rear end or whatever, but I'd be like, I know that this principal is not coming at this in a way the way that they're coming at it is truly about operating in a way to maybe benefit students in that I am a big believer in sharing student work, putting student work up and, celebrating students learning and stuff. Like, I am a believer in that. So I worked for a principal who was like, "You must change it every month." And they were like, because when the superintendent visits, we don't want the superintendent to see that for 3 months you had the same thing up. Like, they come up with like a shit list of stuff of why it should be changed. And then everybody's like, "Take a hike." Like, now that we know your approach, we're not really interested. But I mean, I would comply because I wasn't interested in having this person come at me with a list of things that I was not I was operating in a way that was not positive in the school community. So I was just like, "Whatever. I'm not gonna give you a reason to call me into your office for some bullshit." Okay? So I would do it. I would change it every month, and yeah, because I'm a little bit like, because I believe that I'm a decent professional, I would have ideas, right? So, like, I would plan my art lessons, and then I'd be like, "Okay," because I don't like art, and I don't like teaching art, so I'd make it a big deal, and I'm like, "Do your best work. This is going up on the bulletin board for the whole community to see, blah, blah, blah," right? So that's with the principles that I didn't like. With the principles that I did like, I took pride in changing it monthly just so again, so it's something different. It's like, this is what my kids are doing right now or what they worked on this month, and now you get to see their great work and come on in and tell us about it when you see it. Fast forward to high school, there are no bulletin boards that I'm responsible for. I mean, there's bulletin boards in the classroom, but I mean, in my as a monitor teacher in a monitoring room, there is some good stuff on the walls, but, like, I'm not putting anything up, and I'm certainly not putting up kids' work because it's a that's not how the room I'm in works. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, I'm like, "Hey, give me your history project." I'm putting it up on the wall. They're like, "I gotta go hand it in," you know? "Well, can I have a copy of it?" No. Like, it's a different vibe. If I had my own high school classroom, then I'd think about what do I put on these walls that can benefit students. So I do believe in anchor charts and success criteria and stuff. So I would probably do that, just like I did in elementary. But dude, I hear what you're saying. You're nobody's firing me because I'm not changing my bulletin board. But some of these principles roll in a way, and this is very different in elementary to secondary. I've heard that in secondary, you can try to enforce stuff, but if the teachers don't do it, then you're screwed. Because there is the I do see a power differential between secondary and elementary. In elementary school, you have a principal, sometimes a vice principal, and they just rule the roost. And unless you're a really tight staff, if you go against the principal or the vice principal, and I don't mean like a coup. I just mean like you don't agree with the bulletin board thing. people are not gonna People are not gonna come together and support each other. I've worked in a lot of elementary schools, and where there were times where we needed to band together and we didn't because people would make up reasons why they wouldn't. Well, this is, if I don't do this is bad for the kids. And I'm like, well, if you're not part of this resistance, so to speak, you're going to be a shell of a human by the end of the year. How's that good for the kids? Or you're always scared when the principal comes in your room. How's that good for the kids? That's not good for the kids. So, but in high school, the principal or the vice principals, they're like, this is how we're going to roll with this or whatever. And I found myself doing the thing and looking around being like, I don't really notice anybody else doing it. And then I think, well, I'm going to be me, do me. This is the expectation. I'm going to try and meet the expectation. But again, I really, I believe in my administrators, and they've shown me that they believe in me. And so it's like, it's about assets, not deficits. So I like that. But
I've noticed just in listening to sometimes conversations that elementary Elementary, it seems, so influence and power, two tenets of leadership. Elementary leans heavier on power. Secondary leans higher on influence. I feel, from my observation. I've heard many stories from elementary perspectives where they said the principal said to do this thing and it was done. The principal said they were going to have a committee for something for the kids, it was done. The principals told the parent council something, it was done. Power. That's not that, and it's like it's on the fly power, right? And then in high school, it's always feels like it's long game, and that's influence. And the thing is that influence, the influence is never in the moment. There's always a lag on it. So you have to see the influence long before you make the request. Power. So there's a different rooting system on influence, right? That's slow growth. Power is immediate. Power is immediate, reactive. Now, and I'm trying to speak about both of these from a positive framework because they're both useful, right? Power does have a useful sort of tenet to it, the capacity to say this has to be done now. It can light up slow moving individuals. It can excite people and get them like, this is now, this is present. It can feel like it's in the moment. So there's good stuff to the power side. But the more that I observe the two different leadership lanes, they both have attachment to both. But you got power at elementary that gets stuff done, and then you have influence. Both are relational. It's just what leads, what I've noticed kind of leads the action. So, because again, I'm betting elementary school principal says get that bulletin board done. You're heading out to the dollar store at 8 p.m. and you're making sure you got that ready for the kids coming in the morning.
So I'm sure Rochelle would agree. I mean, this is kind of neat because I've actually worked with Rochelle. So I know I know how Rochelle operates as a classroom teacher because I actually have experience seeing it and working with her. People like Rochelle and I and my wife, we get the expectations and then we just do our job. Like if, I can dislike my principal and I don't have to agree with how they operate and how they govern. But if that's the expectation, then I work to make it a non-factor. So I literally plan it out. Okay, let's look at the months and let's look at what I'm going to put up on the bulletin board. Like that's just the way it is for me. Now, when I worked at St. John for a principal that didn't operate like a crazy power hungry individual, he would say, "Hey, guys, like I get it. You're busy, you're doing stuff, whatever, but like you might want to consider changing your bulletin board if the same work's been up." It depends what it is. Like it could be a long game type of display, or it could be a very short one. Now, if it's a short one and it's up there for 4 months, then it's like it might not be on the teacher's radar because other things are. But it is kind of like, come on, man, like get your stuff together. If you're gonna leave a bulletin board up for 6 months, make it a long game type bulletin board. I'm cool with that. Like if I were the leader, I'd be like, that makes perfect sense what you're doing with this board. When I worked at the same school as Rochelle, I had a classroom that had a zillion bulletin boards. I remember walking in and doing one of these, like, oh my God. But then what I did was I planned it out, right? One bulletin board was for numeracy. One bulletin board was for literacy. One bulletin board, I said to my French teacher, if you want to do stuff with that board, it's yours. Do you want it? They said, yes. I said, beautiful. It's not on me then. That bulletin board's yours. You do whatever you want with it. And then I would leave them alone. Like I wasn't like, hey, it hasn't been changed in a month. I'm like, it's your problem. You agree, you took it. It's not my problem. And when I say problem, I don't mean to make it sound like a deficit, but it'd be like, no, we agreed that bulletin board is not part of what I do in my classroom. And so I just leave it. But anyway, I found different uses for the boards. And then I always thought, okay, what am I going to put outside my class? And it would be a celebration of student work. And there'd be like, and I would like put information on the board. So if a visitor walked past and they looked and they're like, what's going on here? There was always, there was always a paper that I had typed out that explained what the work was on the board and why it was there. But that's like for me, I felt like that's next level. Like I felt like that was okay. I understand I have to do bulletin boards and I understand that there's there should be a purpose for them. So this is it. It's like I felt good about my teaching thinking, "Hey, I'm doing something here that's positive for the community and it's good for my kids and keeps me out of trouble too." So it works for everybody. Um but I wanted to talk about this business of like just working under the leadership of certain people, and right now I'm feeling really good. I feel really blessed. I feel very open to learning. I feel um like it's funny that it's so I feel so good about it. I'll give you an example. So somebody the other day said to me, we were talking about IEPs and which very lots of legal, right? So you got to make sure you got to make sure you meet a certain standard. And a teacher said to me, "Well, can we just do this?" I said, "No, no, no, we're not doing that." And I did it in such a way that I was very closed. I was like, "No, no, I'm not open to suggestions and I'm not open to anything. That door's closed." And then they kind of laughed and like, "Whoa, relax. Like, what's the big deal?" I'm like, "Because last year," and I remember like the time of the year and I'm like, I was in the VP's office and the VP was talking to me about my IEPs, and the VP said X, Y, and Z about IEPs, and it was like best practice. It was like a best practice moment. They were making suggestions to me, and I was not dumb enough to understand that, oh shit, I did that wrong, and
Mm.
they're telling me how to do it right, so I'm in compliance. So this teacher's like, "Can we?" I'm like, "Nope." Because that will take me right out of compliance and that'll put me in a position where if the vice principal looks at this and says, "Hey, didn't we talk about this before?" "Yeah, we did. And now I'm showing you I didn't learn." That's a problem for me. It is because when I tell you I want to learn, give it to me and tell me what does this need to look like? How do we do it? I want to know so I can do it. So it's funny because I'm like, "Nope, that's a hard no." And they're like, "Why?" Because I learned, and I learned from the top person who said, we shouldn't do it this way because da 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 da. They were very nice about it, but really it was like, "What the hell, Chidiac? This isn't how we do it." And I'm like, "Well, teach me. How do we do it?" I'm open to that, but I'm not open to calling me into your office and asking about something you saw or heard and you give me no time to prepare and you just send me an email and say come and see me before the end of the day but you don't tell me why. That shit I'm done with. I'm not interested in that, and if you're going to roll that way, then we're going to I'll be like, I'm bringing in the union rep. Why? Because this is bullshit. So let's have somebody in the room to be like a third person who will say, "Yeah, we're done talking. You're doing something that you shouldn't be going down this road without doing this first." Like, I'm all over that. If that's how you want to play, I'm gonna play like that too because I've experienced it, unfortunately. I've experienced it. Um, and I don't like it. And I know when I get that way, it's not good for me. Dude, when I worked for a particular person, even the kids knew. I was teaching grade 2. Man, even the kids knew when she walked in. They're looking at me and they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with our teacher? Like, how come he's acting so different?" And then they started it was a beautiful community moment because I remember one day in this school, I was at the back of the room and I was with a group of kids. We were working and I was so in the zone with what was happening that the principal came in and I didn't know she had come in. And like I said, she was always looking for deficits, in my opinion. She never said anything nice to me about anything I did, so it's like, "Really? I'm that awful that, like, you can't say anything positive?" So I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." I'm working, and as I'm working, all of a sudden, it's silent in my class. Dude, this class was never silent. Grade 2 is never silent. They're all in centers doing different things and just silent. And I kinda looked up to be like, what's wrong?" And there she is standing there, kind of observing. And I was like, "Oh, this is a moment. These kids are like these kids are on my side," which is fascinating for 6, 7-year-olds to, they're like, "She's here, and we know when she's here, he's not good. So we're literally gonna freeze and kind of let him know." And then as we went through the school year, they would say, "Mr. C, so and so's here." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." And I'd look at her, and then she's like, I did not wanna be, called out." And then she'd leave because she had no purpose when everybody knew she was in there. And I was like, I never said anything nasty to the kids, but they knew. They knew. Um, anyway, I could tell stories for days, but I'm so happy to be in a school where, like, I believe in my admin. I'm not so blind, like, I'm a OECTA rep, so if somebody comes to me like, "Yo, the VP just is doing this or saying this," I'm like, "No problem. Let's work it through. Like, what's the problem?" And I bring it to the team because there's a group of us. I'm like, "Yo, this came to me today." And it's like, I like my admin, but they have to roll a certain way, and if they don't,
Mhm.
well, we'll deal with it from the union perspective. That's fine. I'm even confident in that role. Like, I have no problem with that. There's a reason why there's agreements about certain things. It's because when power is left unchecked, they'll go nuts. They'll go nuts with their power. So, I love that I've seen both models. I love that I've seen both models. I love that I've had shitty situations, I guess, because they've informed me to where I am today. And I love telling these stories because people don't know. People don't know, they don't get it. That person can ruin the culture in a building. They can we had such a good culture in that building before that principal came in. When that principal came in, everything changed, and we would not, for the life of us, we would not come together as a group and say no. We just wouldn't, because we had too many people-pleasing staff members on that staff, too many A1 teachers who didn't wanna be dragged down to something not A1. But at the end of the day, we were a defeated, broken group of people coming to work every day and just wondering, like, what's next? What does this person want next? How are they gonna make us do this? Right?
Mhm.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
This person probably didn't want any candy in the building either on Valentine's
Mhm.
Day. It's like, how do you stop kids from doing that? Yeah, we can tell them, we can send notes
With
home, but
power, baby. Power. With power. Usually, last year, I think I asked. I think we got into a conversation. I think I asked the class. I said, "So what are you going to do for the people that you love Valentine's Day?" They were conflicted with that. High school students, community classroom. They're like, "You mean my parents?" I'm like, "Sure, sure. If that's who is that who comes to mind." And then it just kind of I don't think we went anywhere with it. It was just one of those. It was like our community circle conversation. It was a question I put up the day before. What are you gonna do for the people that you love? Celebrate? Do you do anything Valentine's Day? It got more into the crew that I had at the time. It got more into what they thought they deserved. Oh yes, so and so buys me candy. Oh yes, I get chocolate. Oh yes, we go out for dinner together. I'm like, okay, okay. How about you? What about your expressions of love? What do you do? Karen and I are going. We're going to grab a bite to eat. Like I said, I did a watercolor painting for her, just a mini. It's like a like 4 by 4 inch. It's just a small one. I don't know what she'll do with it, but I like to do that instead of buying a card. Um, I honestly don't know what she'll do with it. And we're going to see a play tonight. So we're heading down actually to where you saw Rumors. So that theater down Markham Little.
The
Going there
big
to
theater.
see the big theater. Going to see the Drowning Girls. The Drowning Girls? The Drowned Girls? It's a very good play, I've been told. So I know a little bit about it, but not much. I think it's three different women who I think have been killed by their husband or drowned by their. Yeah, it gets really morbid, but I think it's about the justice that they get.
Gotcha.
I think, yeah. So it's not just simply that the Drowning Girls, yeah, yeah. So that's tonight, and then just a whole lot of chilling this weekend. I really am not aiming too high at all. I think tomorrow morning, I'm trying to meet up with the stage, the Foundations Fest crew. I said we need to meet up, so we're going to try and meet up for coffee tomorrow, and then someone in my cast. So the play that I'm directing, Arsenic, that starts up next week. Our first table read is on Wednesday. So that's kind of cool. And one of the actors, totally stoked, like just over the moon stoked, said, I would love to meet up for a beer or a coffee just to talk about the play, talk about the process, talk about the character. I'm like, yeah, sure, man. Let's do it. I don't mind. That's what, the next 3 months is going to be about, talking about this play. So let's talk about it.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you've got things going on that are going to feed you in the right way.
Yeah.
It's the weekend, baby.
It is.
And even if it wasn't the weekend, even if it was a weekday and you're doing something you like, that's great.
I would agree.
I have to go to the conversation you and I had about the salted caramel McFlurry.
Oh, yeah.
Which I was not able to get. So let's frame this for everybody. And then after this, if it's okay with you, I got to head out.
Yeah, we'll clock out.
I
got to say, can I just because I don't know if you'll say this. The story starts with a life-changing event.
So Clough sends me a message. Clough's talking to me. We're communicating. And he's out and about doing his thing. I love that I'm telling the story about you as you sit here. But
yeah.
Clough's out and about doing his thing, driving around, talking to me. And he's like, I think I'm going to get a McFlurry. And I'm all for that. I'm like, 2 thumbs up, man. Go get a McFlurry. So
this is what constitutes high density conversation.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Stream of consciousness kind of stuff.
So then you get your McFlurry, and then you report back, and you're like, I got a salted caramel, and you're like, you got to try it if you can. And it was the best McFlurry I've ever had. And then you start going into the makeup of this McFlurry, and I guess whoever made your McFlurry is a friggin' amazing human being, because what you're telling me is that your salted caramel McFlurry was salted caramel from the top of that McFlurry to the bottom of that McFlurry.
And
in the middle. Go on.
And side to side. Because as I'm going through this, I'm like, I think they smeared this stuff on the inside of the cup. Ben put, it was everywhere. And not outside the little crappy box that they serve it in now, right? It was well distributed. And as you're scraping down the side of the cup, usually you don't scrape down the side of the cup. I had to scrape down the side of the cup. There was salted caramel bits stuck to the inside of the cup. I'm like, this is when they're taking the photos and they're talking conceptually about this new flavor. This is what they imagined. Because I've had, and yeah. So back to you.
So anyway, basically you're like, it was done. It was made the exact perfect way you'd expect. Top to bottom, side to side, flavor all throughout. So I'm like, giddy up. I'm going to be out and about on a Tuesday night, and I'm going to be dropping my son off at the rink, and there's a McDonald's up the street. Guess where I'm going? Because I'm going to give you a report. And I'm thinking, there is no way that I'm going to get a Clough McFlurry. That's what I call it now. It's a Clough McFlurry. What's a Clough McFlurry? It's a McFlurry that actually whatever
Checks
McFlurry
the
you get,
boxes.
yeah, it's from top to bottom, side to side, exactly what you'd imagine it to be. Okay. So why am I sharing this? Because it's not only on the weekends that we have fun and enjoy our lives, it's
True.
also on the weeknights. So this is oh sorry, it was Thursday because I was out late and I ended up calling Gary too. It was a wicked night. I got a McFlurry. My son got to go to hockey and I talked to Gary for like 2 hours on the phone. I pulled a Gary on Gary. Anyway, I roll up and I'm like, hey, can I help you? Yes, you can. I would like a regular size salted caramel McFlurry. I'm sorry, sir, we don't have that here. I was like, pardon?
Hard.
Sir, we don't have the salted caramel flavor here, sir. Oh, okay. What flavor do you have? They're like, we have Score, Oreo, and Smarties. I said, okay, I'll take an Oreo. Get my Oreo, pull over, start eating. And I told you this. I told you my experience has always been the top 2/3 is what they say it is, and the bottom third is just vanilla ice cream.
Mhm.
So I'm digging. I'm like, okay, I'm getting close to 1/3, side to side, top to bottom of the 1/3, beautiful, lots of Oreo. Then I get to the second third, good stuff. I get to the last third, nothing. Effing vanilla ice cream, which I told you in an earlier polo, I just thought that was the way the world worked. So I considered that third the third that would cleanse my palate and move on with life, get all the Oreo flavor out and whatnot. So I'm like, this was not a Clough McFlurry. Now I'm disappointed. But you're going to be disappointed again too, because there's no way there's going to be another human working at McDonald's who makes a Clough McFlurry. There's no way, unless you go to the same one and the same person's working. But it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
Last night, my wife and I were out. I said, hey, you want a She's like, I feel like something sweet. I'm like, you want a McFlurry? Yeah, let's get a McFlurry. Roll up to McDonald's, order 2 McFlurries. Again, no salted caramel anywhere in sight here in Waterloo region. I get a Score this time. I don't know, she got Oreo. Get home, start eating, baby. First, third, top to bottom, side to side, beautiful. Second, third, same thing. Last third, vanilla ice cream. I'm just like, whatever Clough got was just amazing. You
It
should have
was
bought a
the
lottery ticket.
unicorn. It was the unicorn of the flurry world.
So to all our listeners, if you get a McFlurry and it's side to side, top to bottom, all thirds have the flavor that you paid for, it is called a Clough McFlurry, and you're lucky because doesn't operate that way. I guess they just don't prepare it that way, but they really should, because it's upsetting to me. I don't understand why you can't drop some of the flavor in the bottom, then do some ice cream. Like, I don't know why you can't layer it. Probably because somewhere in McDonald's, somebody's figured out that that'll add an extra 30 seconds to the order, and they just can't do that because it's got to be out by a certain time. But then I think you make so many mistakes in general that what's 30 seconds? If it's going to add 30 seconds, I'm okay with that to get a Clough McFlurry. And I think many people would be, because I once saw a meme that McDonald's should have 3 drive-through windows. The first window to pay, the second window to get your food, and the third window to fix your mistakes. You roll up, the window opens, you're like, yeah, I'm missing this. You didn't give me that. Okay, sir, let's fix it.
Right now, that's the front door.
Or I just roll back. You know, one time I rolled right back around the drive-through. Sir, can I help you? Yeah, I was here 30 seconds ago. I ordered this, this, and this. I only got this. Okay, sir. I'm like, and don't be giving me a hard time, because when I roll up, you're going to see my face. I didn't have time to cause any difficulties that some people might do. I literally looked in the bag. That's the other thing too. My wife is like, look in the bag before you drive away. I'm like, nobody's counting on that, as they do all the number crunching and make sure I get my friggin' Big Mac in a minute and 15 seconds. But anyway, so there's the Clough McFlurry. So I was having fun on a Thursday night. I mean, I got to talk to Gary. I got to have my McFlurry. I got to send you a polo about it. That's a night. That's a night, and I look forward to any evening that I can do that.
It was stacked up well, eh?
It was stacked up well. I mean, the only negative was I was out late. That sucks, but I had some fun.
Fun and snacks. Fun and snacks. All right.
Okay.
Clocked. We good? I'm hungry now. What am I going to go have? We've got no groceries.
You can just look in the fridge and make something.
I could. And toast. Maybe I'll have toast. I haven't had toast in ages.
There you go. Have some toast.
I'll have some toast.
Any last words before I shut this thing down?
No, man. I am satisfied.
Awesome. So, happy Valentine's Day 2026.
Same to you.
And to all our listeners, have a great day. This was Season 9, Episode 22, number 370 of the Decoded Podcast. Peace.
Peace, man.